Welcome back to the North American LCS. Our series will continue in just a moment, but first, I'm joined by our resident support main in Riv to go over his personal tier list of support players for the summer split so far. First off, though, I just wanted to ask you, what is your criteria here for sorting these guys into the list that you did?
So looking at the support lane, I like to think of it as kind of the lifeblood of the lane. Obviously, it's about the entire team, but these guys are helping everybody using the abilities in offense and defense. You don't get that out of many positions, so they're looking everywhere to make sure every player has the best situation and how they can play that. Stats somewhat don't play into this too much, but it's their voice, what they bring to the team, that champion pool that they can work with and really relieve pressure in
So you're not taking
ways.
CSD into account here?
Maybe
all right,
not.
fine. I'm not going to say that all of these rankings are invalid now, but they might be invalid now. Either way,
players.
Taking a look at this list, you got two players sitting up in the A tier. Ole top in the table, though. Talk to me about this guy.
The Ole it's kind of a package deal, but Ole as well. The champion pool goes so deep that this guy has been a huge factor for the team. You thought it was about the Morgana, and these guys had so much left to be desired coming out of the spring split. A little bit at the end, no real confirmation that they would explode here, but they came out in this split saying, watch us, and Ole have been on the front of a lot of those plays.
A pleasant surprise to see that entire duo improve from spring to summer split. But as you mentioned with Ole, the plethora of champions at his disposal now that are all playmakers, and watching him act on them with confidence is
also allowing Xmithy to do roaming is there's hardly any pressure coming from the bot lane. They're giving all of it.
All right, so we talk about Ole, but Aframu is up there right next to him in the A tier. This is a guy who's kind of returned to form. I mean, he used to be touted as one of the best, if not the best, support in all of North America, and he's making his way back up there.
You see the Thresh coming back. You see all these things that he can play in the Bard. His Tom Kench didn't seem to click as of recent as CLG was playing it, but that fell right back into the mix as Counterlogic Gaming found their way to play, found the strategy, and this guy has 4 player of the games already. The most there was in the last split in spring was 3 for support. So he is on the way up. Keep an eye on Aframu. And he's the captain of the team. He has a lot of pressure on him, and the engaged meta comes back, so he's got to play well all the time.
This meta in general definitely allows these supports to make more of a showing for themselves and put a stamp on the LCS. Now, Biofrost, a guy who was on the #1 team from spring split, sitting here in tier B, so some room for improvement, but still a pretty decent grade.
Bio Daddy does get the B for now, but this could be up or down. He's even at the moment. The Thresh is there, but we see the Rakan plays in these games now versus CLG. A little too far back, a little too far forward. The engages weren't there, but these weren't necessarily costing the team the game. So it's a little detrimental, but the team's behind you on a Rakan play. So somewhat bringing these back, but on watch there for trying to get in on these engages. I mean, this one, I remember Doublelift saying this was one of the toughest games I ever played because they almost lost the lane from him.
Yeah, to be fair, he is having to kind of re-synergize with Doublelift after having taken a split with Wild Turtle, and the entire team kind of seems to be warming into the summer split.
Right.
So there's potential for movement from him out of this B tier.
He's got to become the skill shot now.
Exactly. Now, another guy sitting in the B tier is Big on Dignitas now. I mean, he's impressed me personally throughout the split. What are your thoughts on this guy?
When we started this, you'd asked me kind of what the idea, the criteria was, and one of it was voice, and that's exactly what he brings. A little bit of relief from the bot lane, a big voice, and an ability to allow the someday show to air on the other side of the map. Somewhat relieving that pressure, but there's still some things to be worked on in that bot lane for Dignitas. As of recently, we saw some games where they went down very quick, but that was against Immortals, the top team in the league. Sometimes can be expected, but you do expect more from another top team.
I mean, still such a young player, though. Plenty of room for improvement and plenty of time to see that improvement. Now I want to jump to the bottom of the table because this is a guy who, again, mainstay of the North American LCS, has been around for a long time, and alongside Aframu, probably at one point considered one of the top supports in North America, but Lemonation finding himself at the bottom of the table, tier D.
Getting the tough squeeze here for Lemonation. Quite a rough season finding his groove. Recently picking up the Tom Kench, but before that, with the itemization changes, everybody's going a little bit tankier. Still on the Karma, the Lulu, the Morgana's working in some champ pools, the Zyra, and we've seen those work before in the past. Adrian was able to go with the Soraka, the Janna, and just slap people around with bananas all day, but it's not working right now, and it just needs to change. Maybe too little, too late. This used to be the guy that strategized around everybody else.
Right, some inflexibility in champion selection product and in terms of his champion pool, maybe, and we'll see how that develops throughout the split. On this list, which is the player that, to you feels like has the most room for improvement, or rather is most likely to move up out of a tier that they're currently in?
So out of a tier, I'd have to stay, I think, with Smoothie at the top, kind of an easy one to go for, the low-hanging fruit. But in the situation of where the top of B was, I kind of said to myself, who would kind of be on a main team if I wanted to do this? And it came down to what the confidence is in the players at the top of that list of B. And I feel like Smoothie is a little bit more confident in those plays, confident in hitting it, and would find you that late game play that we've seen, getting that four-man for Sneaky to get his
he's really come into his own as a player, and especially when you talk about that confidence, the confidence in his playmaking potential is definitely there. We'll have to see how these supports continue to influence their team's performance throughout the split, and please let us know what you think about the bot lane playmakers by tweeting to you to @LOL Esports using the hashtag NALCS. But that's going to do it for us here. Now it's time to send it back to the casters to get us into the game. Enjoy.
Welcome back to the North American LCS. The teams are readying up on stage for round 2 between Echo Fox and TSM. First things first, though, Jet, player of the game, of course, has to be awarded, and did go to Svenskeren, actually, in that last game for yet another win on Lee Sin.
Yeah, which champion will Svenskeren most likely win player of the game on is a multiple choice question with only one answer, and it's Lee Sin. I mean, he is 9-1 on that champion this year, and 3-4 on all other champions combined. So I'm surprised we're not seeing it in the ban phase more, because TSM is going for it. When he gets it in the game, even against the Sightstone Rek'Sai, who was just littering the map with wards, he still didn't panic. He didn't try and press plays too hard, and every play he did make mattered.
And for me, I don't even think he's necessarily bad at the other meta junglers. Maybe a little slower to adapt. I mean, Rek'Sai recently rose up. I'm not sure how much Zac experience anyone has, given how often it's banned. But, I like his other champions. It just seems to be kind of a personal, almost mental difference for him, where his Lee Sin just feels so much more comfortable than every other champion, even though he can play the rest of them. So I think you just kick him off the comfort pick and see what else he can play.
Absolutely agree, and I think Echo Fox had the same idea. First ban, see you later.
Hey, there we go. First ban for Echo Fox is that Lee Sin. TSM going to go with Zac. We'll see if Caitlyn and Galio retain their status as those 3 big bans on the red side. Tahm Kench, though, also going to keep mixing it up. A very popular support pick this week, going to be taken away from Biofrost.
Yeah, I mean, maybe one of the biggest beneficiaries of the support item changes that happened in patch 7.12, because those are actually fairly disruptive to the support space. Locket not being a good item unless you have the ability to build bonus health pushes that directly to tanks. Also, people are really now realizing the value of things like Knight's Vow, so a tank support that has a good laning phase can also get you to late game and then be good in the late game is Tahm Kench. So I am not too surprised that we're seeing so much more of him, and now even seeing him on the ban list.
Yeah, Lucian's kind of a curious ban for Echo Fox, though. I mean, can be flexed around sometimes. Jackson has played it. There's LeBlanc, they're the last ban for TSM, so Echo Fox kind of doing them a favor with those mid lane bans, but there's first pick Caitlyn for Echo Fox.
Yeah, sneaks through the ban phase, and now it's Keith's chance to try and turn into a late game carry. I actually really like Caitlyn as a pick for Echo Fox, because they're a team that hasn't been very good at closing out games early. Therefore, give them a champion that is awesome late, and that's Caitlyn.
Yep, pretty smooth in the early laning phase as well. We'll see what TSM decide on with their first pick, though, considering a bunch of different champions, but Thresh will actually be the first overall pick for TSM this draft.
Yeah, tired of getting that thing banned away in the second phase. May as well just lock it down right now. TSM also maybe not going with the same tier of power picks, since they can technically get a counter pick wherever they want it. Maybe just lock down the marksman position right here. It depends if TSM wants to commit before knowing where the support is.
Well, see if they go, yeah, they actually will go with Ashe, so double lift. This is something that definitely is a thing with double lift I've noticed. I don't know exactly how many conclusions I can draw, but he does love to play a pretty narrow pool of champions and kind of stick to what he knows.
It really is a thing with double lift where he will absolutely master a champion and get so comfortable on it. It is both a benefit of double lift that he gets so good at these particular champions, but also to his detriment, because sometimes when the meta shifts, he'll be so good at the old champion, he will convince himself and everyone around him that it's still good, because he's finding success on it. Whereas if he would just pick up a different champion, get the same level of mastery on that, it will be even better. It just doesn't do that, though. So some of the small things about having small champion pools when you're a really good player.
Well, Ashe, once again for double lift as a result. There's Rek'Sai and Talia, though, on the other side for Echo Fox. So an early mid lane pick once again. TSM, I think it's a lot of pretty tough decisions here. If they want Galio, do they take it? They probably have to take it now. Looks like they might want Gragas, which can flex to the top and jungle, but that does leave mid lane bans now open for Echo Fox to make here. So Kind of a lot of fun stuff going on with these first 6 picks.
Yeah, getting the Gragas here does give them the flexibility to put it in the jungle or the top lane, but as you say, Echo Fox should just throw bans at the mid lane here. Whatever they don't want to see Bjergsen going up with, the Syndra should be taken off, and probably the Cassiopeia would be the 2 bans I would predict from Echo Fox, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, there's Braum ban for TSM. There's Syndra going to join the list, kind of another one you don't want to give over. TSM now considering their next ban. Do they keep banning supports? I mean, again, Gate has a pretty large pool, but if they just take the good laning supports away, might help them get through what is otherwise a tough matchup. Caitlyn does bully almost every bot laner.
Yeah, and I think with the Braum ban, they're just trying to get rid of things that will make it harder to kill the Caitlyn later. Braum, a spectacular defender in the late game, so that, and then also getting rid of a top lane carry option for Luka.
Well, Fiora taken away. Again, Galio lingers in the back of my mind, but we'll see if Echo Fox want to keep picking on mid lanes here. Nero looking pretty serious. Does take that Cassio you expected.
Yeah, just getting rid of the things that will be hard for Echo Fox to reach, because looking at their team right now, Caitlyn, Taliyah, Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai can dive, but by no means is he going to solo someone without a great dive buddy. So really just making sure that the high backline threat things for Bjergsen are taken out of there. There's still a few left, but TSM probably waiting until the very last pick for it.
All right, so going to actually take Renekton here and give Bjergsen the counter pick. Again, Galio was the thing I thought they might take, but wanting to retain a little more pressure for Bjergsen.
Huh. They could still go Galio.
Yes, they could. I mean, it would be quite fun.
And go huge tanks without necessarily a great way in.
Rumble Rakan, though. Interesting. Echo Fox putting a lot of insurance in the late game in bottom side there.
Yeah. Okay, this took a strange turn for sure. Still not a great delivery system for the Rakan right there to have anything comboing with it. And a lot of squishiness right there. And because everyone is so vulnerable, TSM goes with the last pick, Kassadin. So it's not so much that backline thing you're worried about, because the Rumble and the Rakan do have a little bit more threat for someone who's sitting in the back there. So TSM kind of switches it up, now doing a 1-3-1 with an Ashe Insurance.
Kind of fun. We'll have to see exactly how it shakes out for TSM. But yeah, Echo Fox very heavy on the team fight, kind of by the looks of things. Yes, Froggen can play in those side lanes. I think Tilly is a good pick for him because he loves to take so many waves and maneuver around the map and try and find picks. But I mean, we saw this yesterday when TSM played FlyQuest, where FlyQuest had a very squishy comp, and the Kled with Zillion and powered up just kind of ran into every single fight, and there were no bad targets. A little different, of course, because TSM comp is very different, but maybe the same problem here for Echo Fox, especially if Acadian does lean more on that damage side. I mean, when everyone's squishy and you're behind, it feels really bad.
Yeah, and there's very few things that can keep a Kassadin under control in a fight. If you're looking at the Echo Fox team composition, a lack of hard CC, pretty much just coming in from the Rakan as far as things that will actually be able to reach a Kassadin who can rift walk every 1.6 seconds in the late game. So bold last pick there by TSM, but I think quite fitting for the team composition.
I like it, and again, TSM showing that, you know what, we can mix it up and maybe play some different styles. Double TP is something very different for this team. And of course, my burning question will be, what does Svenskern's non-League C champions look like? I think Gragas is pretty similar analog, actually, to Lee Sin. It's trying to be able to make early plays and still have a very game-changing ultimate, but we'll see. It's not going to look as comfortable, or at least it shouldn't. We'll see just how many reps he's gotten.
Yeah, and we're also going to get to see if Acadian goes Sightstone again, or if he really tries to take over the game on this early game Rek'Sai where it's so strong. And then the other thing we obviously have to track is how much focus goes down to the bottom side and whether or not Keith can get going. Well, could be the big late game insurance for Echo Fox.
A lot of questions to ask here. Echo Fox backs against the wall here in the BO3. Going to have to rattle off 2 straight if they want to take down and upset TSM. TSM looking for a spotless record on the weekend. One more game away from sweeping through their 2 series and continuing that rise towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at number of game losses, TSM has the fewest in the league. So even though they did start a little bit slow, dropping some matches, they are trying to ramp up back into that championship form.
A stark contrast to spring, where they lost about as many games as they could while still finishing first.
Yeah, they're losing all the games and winning all the matches. I mean, they were, what, 16-2 somehow in the spring where their best-of-3 series did not feel that way whatsoever.
No, win rate wasn't great, but looking good here in the first 4 weeks of the split. We'll see if they can close out strong.
Minions have spawned.
And once again, we'll have to keep an eye on these junglers. Arcadian might be trying yet another route, but TSM's early vision really got the better of Arcadian's potential gank parts early. I imagine the starts will be standard, but once again, we'll be tracking these junglers. And I think Arcadian, a player that loves to kind of get involved early and try and make a play, and we'll see if he can be a bit more proactive on the rec side. The most egregious thing for me will be if he gets first blood, which he's very good at doing, goes back and bites the side toe. That's going to be like, okay, what is going on here?
Yeah, even now, though, I actually really like this tweak the TSM is doing. A couple other teams are doing it, but I think it's going to become much more widely adopted. Look at the ward in the river. Bjergsen placed that ward at 140 roughly and then walked straight to lane. That blocks the triple camp quick gank from the rec side, because that ward will live long enough for if he goes for that scuttle crab as it spawns and then goes for level 3 gank. So that gank has swung a lot of games. I think teams are willing to invest that early ward, and we may start seeing less and less of that gank because teams are placing that ward.
Yep, level 2 here for both mid laners as Bjergsen should be taking fire in the early stages of the game. Svenskeren actually buff to buff, so kind of covering for any potential damage here as Arcadian onto the different scuttle crab. So that ward spotted the right-hand side, but it may not spot the left.
And he has the experience, Quint, so this is actually adaptation. I wonder if the coach told him about that ward and told him he'd be able to get this gank off, because this is really quick, and Haunter will not expect this.
No, Haunter only level 2 as well. Lupa with plenty of damage. He already sliced in. Arcadian is going to get the knock-up happening. Haunter's just trying to buy time. He flashes forward. Arcadian follows. Takes some turret damage, but Lupa needs to keep burning him down. First blood looking good. Going over. There it is for Lupa. Barely lives as he flushes away from the caster creeps.
Really confused at the delay on the knock-up there, hoping to get him post-flash, but then almost letting him escape into the turret, and then even a delay after the flash. Not actually clean execution there, even if the timing was perfect. Haunter nearly escaping.
Yeah, and Haunter actually going to insta TP back to lane, so it won't even lose that much minion-wise, despite the early gold going over to Lupa. Svenskeren being tracked potentially in his jungle though. He did spot him with the Tremor Sense, get a ward over the other side as well. So watch this gank again.
Yeah, exactly. You just right-click the Renekton and you will unburrow. He wants to wait for the flash. But even then, he ends up flashing behind him then, taking a turret shot, then a second, means he can't finish off the damage, and Looper then has to flash in fear that the minions would continue auto-attacking him. Now you've gone flash for flash. You did get the first blood onto the Rumble, which will definitely help. But it also makes the threat of a return gank from Svenskeren, since he is a flashing Gragas, much higher.
Well, Spectrum in the bottom lane now. Caitlyn, a very good champion in lane. Rakan not so much, especially without Xayah. So kind of expecting Doublelift and Bifrost to feel good and be able to bully this lane, but lots of shoving back and forth should be the standard there, as Arcadian is going to go for the revisit. Hasn't even backed yet, and Haunter looking for a ward, but
maybe doesn't have flash.
Good sense there from Haunter, I think. Zeolin coming down the bottom side. Keith already low. He's been ignited there by Bifrost. Doublelift flashing forward aggressively. We're going to get the last few autos. Does land as the heal comes out, and Gate now under fire. Played back by Bifrost. He just needs to line up one more hook, but the flash from Gate will keep him safe.
Oh my, I'd love to see the start of that. Not sure how Keith got on the other side of Doublelift before that trade. Way out of position, and the fervor of Ashe versus the Warlords of Caitlyn will outdamage early. The Ashe will just win that trade if it goes extended. Now they're diving the flashless Rakan.
Yep, Gate already stunned up, does W out of the way. Bifrost not in range for that early hook and didn't want to burn the flash shot. We'll watch how this happens. I think there might be a net involved.
Yeah, we'll see if he nets in the wrong direction, but it is just a hook, a playback, and then he nets a little bit sideways because he was hoping to get the headshot combo and win an extended trade. But Doublelift just stacked up Fervor there and was out damaging him, not to mention they had more minions for that trade. Nice hook by Biofrost first and foremost, which allows them to win that trade.
It started out, and there's a nice little 2v2 win there for TSM, and despite not converting in the bottom side with Sven there, able to at least pressure Gate, and we'll see if there is any revisits there in that 2v2. Early vamp step up for Doublelift. He'll be going Blade of the Ruin King first, and a cull for Keith. Almost conceding the lane on the spot, saying, I just have to farm this out.
Yeah, I don't like that buy at all. I think Caitlyn still has the potential to farm up, get the BF, and then start pushing the turret. But yeah, you're selling out with that call. And picking Caitlyn to not get first turret is not nearly as effective, since now his dip is essentially until 30 minutes, rather than having that strength up until about 12 minutes, and then having a mid-game dip as we see all the other capabilities.
Haven't seen too much here in the mid lane, but a lot of trading. Bjergsen behind about 10 farms. Froggen doing a good job abusing the Kassadin early. Bergson now level 6 should get a lot more traction in this matchup.
Yeah, Kassadin actually a sneakily good laner early on. People often underrate Kassadin's laning phase because they remember several years ago, but the magic damage shield you get with your Q is very effective. Svenskaren's pretty underleveled in the jungle though.
Yeah, getting chased out here, and there's an early Jarum's Fist for Acadian, so much more aggressive here on the buy. It's going to force Sven off the Raptors, cancel it back, I think. No, didn't quite connect with the Brace Seeker. Bjergsen still going to work on Froggen, but it's trading blows right now.
Yeah, Dark Seal and Refillable Potion, helping him stay sustained in that one. He's going to stick around in the lane, actually, because he knows Froggen has to recall soon, and he's low on mana.
Yeah, Bjergsen with the Catalyst should feel pretty safe. Acadian, though, just making sure there's nothing else happening. Bjergsen going to pull the wave back and start taking these out under the turret. So Froggen is going to get space for that recall, but kind of the tough part of this lane is over for Kassadin. And he will take a little while longer to get stronger, but kind of curious to see as the game breaks open more, where TSM move their side lane to see with these TPs. And the obvious advantage that they've already built is in this bottom lane. You saw before, Doublelift and Bifrost, they've got a CS lead, they've got the 2v2 kill, and that bottom lane turret's getting heavily pressured as well.
Yeah, and where do they then make the use of their hack carry? Oh, Katie does get on a Bjergsen though.
Looks for the execute, still chasing with the red buff. Good bit of damage actually, but Bjergsen doesn't even use the ultimate stacks, just recalls out of the way knowing Acadian didn't have enough damage.
Yeah, does not get his Furious Bite off at the very end of it.
Another good hook by Bifrost, but no arrow to combo for Doublelift. Now he has it. Level 6 not there yet for Keith and Gate, so you're gonna want to tread carefully. Yeah, and they know it too. Hook attempt does land. Arrow lands in as well. The Flame's going to combo Ignite back in there. And now Keith goes down. Bifrost with a great kill.
Yeah, this lane is turning into a disaster. And this is the type of game that may get Doublelift some of his confidence back that he says he's been lacking since returning to the LCS. Being able to go into a first pick Caitlyn and then get these kills with Biofrost, while also providing that utility, spotting Acadian on the other side of the map. Doublelift and Biofrost are having a great game.
Just flying over the rift there with the Hawk shot. Great view there, provided by Doublelift, as 2v2 is going exceptionally well, as you mentioned. Froggen, though, going to dip over to the blue buff and not get it just yet. It's actually not available, so it's going to be tough to pick that one up as Svenskeren goes ahead and steal these Raptors. And again, still covered by Doublelift, just making sure Acadian's still on the left-hand side of the jungle. And bad news a little early there. Or a little late, I guess, because now his Raptors are gone.
Watching this one more time, I mean, TSM just hits level 6, runs through the minion wave, just catches Keith with the end of that death sentence. And then at that point, it's a pretty easy kill secure. So needs to be able to dodge that hook or stay in a spot where he can at least juke back and forth.
Gate also kind of abandoned him there as well. Didn't want to tank it because he probably would have died, so a tough spot regardless. As Lupa getting good damage on the Haunter, ultimate ready, but doesn't pull the trigger. Haunter holds onto his as well, and despite the early kill for Lupa, Haunter with a bit of a CS lead, starting to build up on Renekton and bully like he really can once he hits some early item threshold.
Yeah, and I do like the build from Looper. Early Ninitabi into an early Seeker's Arm Guard makes it very difficult for the Renekton to do the damage to him, but as you say, not actually getting that CS lead, so maybe because of lack of ward control on the top side, Looper hasn't been willing to play as aggressive as he would like. Now they're trying to roam up. Gate's looking for something.
It's a dive by the looks of things. Ignite ready. Haunter pretty low on health.
Yeah, this is actually most likely a dead Haunter. They can put a lot at him here.
Haunter also ready. Gate looks for the knockup, but does combo it late. Good ultimate there from Looper as Acadian jumps into the fray. Haunter down.
Yep, make the quick roam, and this is what you want to do with a losing bottom lane. But the bottom lane was losing so hard, the first turret still goes over to TSM.
Yep, just a 2-man there versus the 4 that were there for Echo Fox. 3 remaining as Lupa recalled to run back down to that bottom tier 2 and save it. The trade does come out eventually, but TSM still ahead on that gold front and might even go for a second turret.
Yeah, and they invested much less into that bottom side move than did Echo Fox. So Svenskeren's still technically free to go where he pleases. Looper's got to be a little bit hesitant defending that, but gets a lot of damage out of Double.
Yeah, Doublelift eats the Harpoon and will take a strong amount of damage as a result. Gate and Keith 2-manning the Rift Herald right now. Looks like Froggen actually recalled, so no pressure, though he is missing. And TSM might just back in and take the easier objective here on the Drake, with Firefrost gonna very nicely alley-oop Doublelift into the pit.
Long range Dark Passage. I always dislike when Cloud Drake is the first one to spawn, not because I don't like Cloud Drake, but because it does so much damage to you. It's really hard Drake to solo. You can see how low Svenskeren is getting, even with 2 people here. It has the fast attack speed, and the Drake still does % health damage, so it ends up actually destroying people early on in the game. TSM, though, secures it in trade for the Rift Herald.
Yep, nice and safe to take with the trade happening cross-map. So kind of the reverse situation of last game. TSM had the Rift Herald, and that was the play that really started opening up the game for them. We'll see if TSM can do a better job defending, or if Echo Fox do just as well, if not better, at getting whatever turret they're looking at next. TSM still holding that gold lead, though. Bjergsen just really shaking up a lot of the damage from Frog and Gate, trying to make the play, but Bjergsen blinks out of there.
Good shots by Froggen. They're really doing everything they can to try and punish Cast mid. Cast mid, low wave clear. This is what you want to technically do with the Caitlyn, is take a turret and then roam around the map. The problem is, it's a pickaxe cull Caitlyn, and there's a Blade of the Ruin King Ashe on the other side. So a level 6 Caitlyn coming into your lane when you're level 9 isn't actually threatening.
Yeah, that's actually an insane lead from Doublelift. He's 1,500 gold ahead with approaching a 50 CS lead also with that completed item time. Wherever Doublelift goes next is going to be a big problem for Echo Fox.
Yeah, absolutely. It's actually Ashe that would be more akin to showing up in a lane and pushing down a turret. When Doublelift does do that, though, I think it'll be similar to in game 1, where they lead with the Ashe arrow, try and get a kill, and then push it down. Much different than the way a Caitlyn Siege is. Well,
you can see Rod of Ages finish for Bjergsen as he completes a recall. Frog and Banshees fail first. Adaptation we've seen a number of times as Doublelift was busy working the top side of the map, trying to get an arrow in the 2v2. Looper and Haunter have rejoined the duel, but this time in the bottom side with no turret there for Echo Fox, but Acadian actually handling the Rift Herald now.
Though.
Once it clears out the wave, but now the Rift Herald's going to join in. The wave does play catch-up. Svenskeren here, so they might try and kill the Herald ASAP.
Yeah, I think this is a smart move, just killing the Herald as quickly as possible rather than trying to start a fight. The Herald does actually hit you pretty hard. Wild Ashe arrow from Doublelift in the top side. Thought maybe a fight was going to break out.
Just in case. This kid, it's one volley and a pretty big chunk of his health. Oh boy.
He is so under-leveled on that Caitlyn, about to hit level 7, but when an 80 carry is out-leveled by the enemy support at 13 minutes, something has gone horribly wrong.
Yep, we've kind of seen that in that 2v2 as pressure here in the mid lane. Good from Echo Fox to, again, punish the low to no wave clear Kassadin. Svenskeren cleared out the last few minions, maybe in time to keep it alive, but shouldn't last too much longer here. TSM though recalling from the top side, but Doublelift going back, needs a tower and a dagger now completed, and Echo Fox trying to kind of accelerate the game and open it up a little bit more, but TSM with their advantage, despite how slim it is, should keep that pressure up. And once Bjergsen gets out of this lane into the side lane, being able to challenge people 1v1, TSM should feel much better about the current state of the map.
That is the hope for TSM. Froggen also yet to make a play with the Weaver's Wall at level 11 against Caston with low wave clear. That would be the natural point in that lane where you're trying to find the advantages in this game. I think our small audience just did a wave or something.
They did.
Waves happen in arenas where you can go in circles, not in places like this. Appreciate the enthusiasm.
Certainly do. Maybe, you know, keeping themselves entertained for during this subdued early to mid game, or just having a whole lot of fun, which is most important here in the NALCS. Doublelift though going to keep the action rolling on for TSM. Looking to siege down this outer turret in the top lane. And that one should fall pretty quickly, although might need an extra wave to do it. Doublelift, no additional help from Biofrost, so running out of minions.
He's going to stick around.
Yep, tank a couple turret hits, but no problem there for the Ashe.
Acadian trying to go in for a fight. Echo Fox is actually here before TSM.
Lantern out. Ooh, good hook on the game, but he zips out with the battle dance. Blue buff reset though, no, not quite. Froggen here to collect it, and it will go to its rightful owner.
Yeah, and this is another actually fairly similar early game to game 1, where you see Echo Fox and TSM staying relatively even in the early game, but this then means that it's probably advantage TSM because they have been so much better about making plays, and in this composition have way more tools to make
play. This is the problem. Good flash play from Bifrost. Hook! He's going to connect on the back end. Cleanse the Froggen and the flash gets out from under the Ashe arrow. Nimble moves as Acadian tries to make the trade back and forth. Get with the knock-up after the charm, but not enough to get the kill despite the ignite. Now Haunter in the backline just ripping through Acadian. Might almost be enough as Bjergsen looks to rip walk down. There's the kill that TSM are looking for.
Deathfire Touch does get Doublelift on the back of the fight, though, as they couldn't quite finish off Froggen. It ended up being a 4v5 as Sven Skaren was in the base and Echo Fox got there much sooner, but they might be looking to continue some pressure here.
Well, no AD is going to make it tough to siege, but they're going to walk down towards this bottom turret and try and finish the job that TSM's doing started a little bit earlier. You can see about 40% of that turret health left. What a big play here attempted by Biofrost.
Yeah, just really clean with his Thresh play right there, but the Ash Arrow has been questionably aimed by Doublelift here, and they get a lot of CC on him, sticks around at the end of the fight, and then really good long-range equalizer there by Looper, and Deathfire Touch finishes him off, but TSM did arrive with the double teleport, expended both of them, picks up a kill on the backside to keep it even.
Maybe not as much as TSM would have liked to get there, but you can kind of see, I think the issue that's going to start cropping up in this game that was set up for TSM's comp here. I mean, the tower goes down in mid lane actually, which does make things easier for Echo Fox. It wasn't far away, so Doublelift will have a less secure time farming safely, but now that we can actually move these double TPs into the appropriate side lanes, and Doublelift can just kind of hold siege in mid, TSM should be able to open up the map even more, and with the Drake spawning as well, might even have a team fight on the horizon if they can find the right setup.
Yeah, Keith just finishing his call on that last shot. Gets the extra 350 gold, but that means he's yet to be able to go back to buy anything. It's going to make him extremely weak if they were to compress this Drake.
Yep, Drake going to be given up effectively here by Echo Fox as Looper trying to get a push started here. Lots of members up though.
And I like this move actually from Echo Fox. They have the jump on TSM pretty substantially. No teleports from TSM either because they expended both in that last fight.
Rogan also roaming up with his ulti, so can cut them off if TSM want to make a play instead. A nice rotation from Echo Fox. He's going to get them a tier 2 turret. Bjergsen will answer in the bottom side of the map. Does have a Sheen as well, but Echo Fox is still going here.
Yeah, solo turret gold for Bjergsen. So if they can't match with anything, it actually does end up favoring TSM since that concentration of gold on a carry is ideal.
Bjergsen also still going. TSM now have cut off Echo Fox as they move back down from top lane. Bjergsen is going to stop though. TSM might just fall back and try and siege mid lane, but Echo Fox again can also challenge with the team fight, although Keith does have to go back and spend his gold, which he has just done now.
Yeah, still just a BF sword though, so not anywhere near the Infinity Edge Static Shiv Rapid Fire Cannon build he wants to go to, whereas Doublelift with the Zeal will be quite strong right now. Blade of the Moon King fully completed.
The big frowny face there for Keith right now. There's a lot of investment still to come as Fogging in to clear this mid lane out. Biofrost again, another great hook predicting. Does get Fox back in. Sven with a good ultimate is going to actually burn Froggen down with the Ignite. The Chomp does land in, but Bio barely lives as they dive the turret gate. Also somehow alive as he actually did end up getting the kill, but Bjergsen going to rip off King and try and take down Gate, but Gate zipping around to try and get out of the way. Bjergsen now caught up, does get knocked up, has to keep roof walking, but running out of mana. Ace in the hole, going to make it a problem. There's the execute. Double ultis take down Bjergsen.
Great jukes by Gate to make that a 2-for-2, because it should have most likely been a 2-for-1. And as long as Echo Fox keeps trading these kills, they can keep scaling on that Caitlyn. The worry would be that they're also scaling on the Caston on TSM side, but definitely want to track Gate's juking on this. You don't exactly juke Cassidon very easily or often. Another huge hook by Biofrost, but he takes a bunch of damage on the backside, getting hit by the seismic shove into Unraveled Earth. Keith's lack of farm means that kill takes a while, but then watch this. Keith times the heal, saves him, and then jumps back as Bjergsen flash force pulses, and it delays the kill by 2 or 3 seconds, which then allows Acadian, I feel like, to chase down this kill. Kate channels facing the hole. Acadian ends up actually giving the kill over to Keith.
Yep, nice little combo there. The Rexa execute plus the Caitlyn ulti is some good sniping power on the Echo Fox side. And maybe critically as well, mid lane turret stays up for now and actually pretty healthy for Echo Fox. So TSM, they got some kills back and forth. They did get some gold, but trades mean they can't really get any objectives after. So back to pushing these side lanes. Thankfully, their TPs are ready to go, but Echo Fox playing pretty high tempo league as a 4 to 5 man unit, just trying to pressure TSM out of the side lanes as quickly as possible. Because Lichbane Cassidon's going to do a lot of work now if he makes it all the way down to the inhibitor turret.
Yeah, it's about getting little bits of magic resist on a lot of people to prevent Bjergsen from crushing through people. The cooldown boot Lichbane build is very good, but falls off very quickly when people start building magic resist. Engaging on a Biofrost.
Good knock up there for Gate, but no hard commit there for Echo Fox, just looking for the pick. Bjergsen instead gets bot pushing, going to clean out that ward. And all this solo golden experience is nice as well. TSM actually threatening the Baron side of the map, not looking to force down the mid lane without really strong siege, I suppose.
Yeah. I do want to point out the much more aggressive build from Acadian's Rek'Sai. Not really at a point where he's taking over the game, but definitely much more 1v1 threat with Titanic Hydra, especially if he completes that pair of longswords into a Warrior channel.
Warrior on the way, still with that challenging smite though, so really staying the course on the aggression as Doublelift gets some pot shots onto the mid outer turret. TSM actually to play this very slow, trying to advance all the waves simultaneously, but Equivox can find an opening. It's been the classic way to break open these sort of split push comps, is just force a fight where you're almost guaranteed to have the advantage, because they can TP in, but that takes a number of seconds.
Yeah, and they are just spending so much time grouping around mid and almost daring Equivox to find that initiation. No cleanses, QSSs, or Mikhails, though, against the Rakan can be dangerous. I mean, you land a quickness, and then Froggen would technically be able to get the seismic shove. So TSM is banking on the fact that Froggen won't be there because they're constantly trying to pressure these side waves. Rek'Sai going for it.
Flash knock up. Gets Bjergsen actually very low already. Ulti gonna get channeled. There's an execute. Acadian, another kill.
Bjergsen's got to be very careful of that. I mean, Rek'Sai and Talia can do a good job of chasing people down in the side lanes, and that new Rek'Sai ultimate is great as a finisher against Kassadin.
Can't get away once he's locked on. Nice answer there. Equivox buy themselves a crucial amount of time. 2 items also done for Keith as he finishes that rapid fire cannon. Still waiting for 1.5 more, but this was a good bit of pressure.
Yeah, just huge amount of damage even within the first knock-up, and Bjergsen doesn't get his Rift Walk up once again. Nice kill there by Equivox, and not enough wards for him to make that play.
As well. Oh, the charm lands in after the flash from Get. Great shot back from Froggen.
That's what we were talking about, Pastry Time. TSM was daring Equivox to make that play, and they did. This time, TSM should not have been up that far because they did not have the side waves pushing, so they had nothing to draw Froggen away from that spot. They pull off the combo, they get another kill, and they get the bottom turret.
Now advantage Equivox up almost 2,000 gold as they take the turret in the bottom side of the map. Looper, after that kill into Bjergsen, able to pressure down. And TSM, again, this is not a comp they run as often, so trying to split push a lot in these side lanes and extend 1v1s for as long as possible. Certainly a style they don't seem as practiced on, and Equivox with some proactive plays, punishing them nicely, as Sven might be the next one to go here, but pretty tanky. Biofrost able to pluck him to safety.
Yeah, and this is TSM as well not being as comfortable with the composition as you just said. So watching the way Equivox can punish that, Talia roams up, they have control wards in their own jungle. Doublelift is blocked from one direction, the Lantern would have saved him, but Gate and the seismic shove from Froggen preventing that Lantern from pulling into safety. So close on the timing.
Really good stuff. TSM still same plan. I mean, they need this mid outer turret at some point, otherwise the map is going to be too close for their big split pushes to really have any impact. Bjergsen now going to roam to the mid lane, make sure it goes down as TSM group for it, so at least the damage that TSM did, despite getting Doublelift killed, was enough to actually take the structure, and still Monopoly on the Drake as well, looking to take down that Cloud. Fox not really at a time where they can just rush down the Baron, although they're in the area to at least threaten it. Doesn't look like it though, and that Cloud's going to go over. Equivox will take what Baron vision they can, but Bjergsen already rift walked back over to the bottom lane. Get that pushing again.
Yeah, and you just wonder when they're going to make any collapses if that's their way of winning. Doublelift getting targeted once again.
Another catch, Lantern, no, not even close! Gets put into the bouncy castle and taken down by Froggen.
Yeah, and they don't have wards to prevent these things from happening. Bjergsen's never there. The team's getting picked off. This is what those split pushers always complain about. Man, if my team would just not die. Well, if you're actually drawing people towards you and have given a team a forewarning, that is less likely to happen. But Bjergsen was split pushing without pressure there while the rest of his team wasn't backing off, and now the pick continue.
Another catch on the Biofrost. Rek'Sai also going to get channeled. Not quite enough for the execute, but the bite will secure it now. Bjergsen actually running a little too far forward for the flank. Now it's the rip walk out. He took so much damage, and Equivox maybe feeling confident enough to start the Baron. They will.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Talia ult's up, Rumble ult is up, and it's a 3v5. Bjergsen's also having to teleport back to the base, so TSM desperately trying to stop this one, but it's going to be real hard.
TP in from Bjerg though. Good flank angle, but Haunter may be caught up. Does turn the ulti as Bjergsen just trying to dish some damage out. Flash over from Haunter might keep him safe, and Echo Fox don't chase.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised Echo Fox actually even peeled off for that kill instead of just focusing Baron, knowing it was a 3v5, but TSM is able to stop it there without even suffering casualties. And they might think about starting this themselves with the control board.
I mean, there's no vision here for Echo Fox. Don't even have the speed shrine.
Rek'Sai would be able to see them with Tremor Sense if he goes close, but he's not going close enough to check.
Instincts might cost them here. Now they know. Oh, there's the instant TP from Echo Fox. Froggen going to ulti into the pit, but that's not really going to cut anyone off. They need to just go for a steal here, I think. Ultimate from Luke is really nice. Oh no! Fail flashes! It's Svenskeren gets the Baron and flashes out to safety. Acadian is going to get the tag and go for the execute. He gets hooked. No, that doesn't work. The stun does land after, but Acadian's going to live. Doublelift getting shots blocked in as Bifrost forced to play one back. Ignite down onto Acadian. Might be enough for the kill. The Ignite burning him down, but a shield is going to save him. Bifrost just buying time. Not going to live through the onslaught as Froggen gets the kill, but Baron over to TSM's disaster.
Yeah, this is not a mark of the play you want to build towards for your team, because a lot was wrong kind of from both sides in that last engagement. Echo Fox didn't play the first Baron properly, and then TSM in their secure... We're going to see it again. They made a few mistakes, particularly some oopsies by Svenskeren and Acadian from here as we get a slight reprieve. Watch this. So Acadian sneaks in around the backside, and there's no ward from Svenskeren, but he did catch him with the sweeper. His ultimate misses entirely, and then Acadian fail flashes. He is able to secure it with his smite, and then it is just everyone bailing out. So at this point, TSM pretty much just has to run in. Acadian realizes he made an oopsie there, flashed into a wall.
Yeah, good to see him smiling, but certainly a tough spot for the team as TSM will actually take the Baron to almost keep them in the game. They're still down 1,500 gold, and if they can do more damage with this buff, it will certainly open the game back up into a lead for themselves. You'd think the 1-3-1 comp would excel with Baron, but they're going to have to do the actual damage with it.
Yeah, it should, but let us not forget the difficulties TSM has been having setting up these plays. It is very hard in the first place to run a split push composition against a Taliyah, because Froggen, as we saw even with the wall, can force picks in almost every area. I think new Rek'Sai, even though the ultimate doesn't take her anywhere on the map with the tunnels, the Void Rush is spectacular at chasing down Bjergsen split pushing, or even a Rek'Sai split pushing right here. So it is very hard for TSM to pull this off, on top of the fact that this just isn't their style. They're continuing to try and expand their playbook, but this is not Bjergsen on a huge damage dealer and Haunter on a tank. This is a clear attempt at a 1-3-1 where they force picks with a Thresh and an Ashe, and they haven't been very clean with it.
Well, Baron helping them out. Gonna take the mid-tier 2 by the looks of things and get the goal within about 600. Bottom inhibitor turrets also very low for Echo Fox, so Haunter, if he can actually get some real damage done to it, although at the moment it does look like Acadian is just pressuring too hard for Haunter to step too far forward. Instead, turret's going to fall on the top side. Bjergsen going to get joined by his teammates, and now the gold lead is back in TSM's side. Only 500, but Baron kind of keeping them back up in this game and pushing them a little further ahead.
Yeah, keeping Echo Fox at bay after that after the Baron play goes bad for them. And Keith is still trying to scale up. It's a Caitlyn game where you may never see him get to that point. No one is enhancing him with Ardent Sensor type plays, as you can see the redemption just now completed by Gates, so nothing really buffing him up. And we saw in the mid lane about a minute ago, Svenskeren step on a trap and Keith barely doing anything to him. And that's a Runic Echoes Gragas with a Spirit Visage. Not something that you expect to be a super tank, so clearly not there yet for Echo Fox, but it's the Rek'Sai and the Rumble that are actually providing most of the damage in these fights.
Yeah, 6 combined kills for Lupa and Acadian in this particular game, and triple damage items is nice looking stuff for the Rek'Sai. Kind of curious to see where he goes with the next section of the build. Maybe GA, which we've seen from a lot of the more aggressive AD style junglers. Think of Mike Young's Lee Sin, kind of showing that build up, I think, for one of the first times. But you can go Stoneplate as well and kind of go tankier and do a lot of what the top lane fighters are doing also. So certainly set up to succeed here. It's been a while since we've seen Acadian really go off in a game, but looking good so far in the Rek'Sai containing TSM split push, but still, Baron did a lot of work there for them, and a fourth straight, kind of that invisible gold is still going over to TSM. It looks like they'll get this next one as well, and maybe thankfully for Echo Fox, it's an ocean of 3 clouds instead of anything else.
Oh man, the triple cloud. You do zoom
Yes.
around with it, but that's about it here.
It looks really cool.
Yeah. The satisfaction goes up so much when they add those little particles to remind you that you're running really fast. As you can see Sven Skaren walking around, but the particles do not give you any actual power.
No, not too much at
Unfortunately.
least. I mean, maybe if they gotta, book it from top lane to bot lane on foot with TPs down, we could see some dramatic turnarounds, but I think that's unlikely, and instead again, plan still being executed here for TSM. Bjergsen with a good amount of pressure, but his team is not really on the map, so can't quite get in position to really shut down the turret as Prey being stalked here. Ooh, Prey is gonna miss though, and now Ponte's gonna try and get himself out of the way. Burns the ultimate, and just gonna run towards Bifrost.
Yeah, they might even try and turn something around here, but pretty dangerous. Double if still in base. Yep, TP canceled.
Yep, Bjergsen's like, nope, I don't want to pull in for that one. Does have avoid stuff, so plenty of damage now already on the Kassadin, but TSM again is trying to get things set up their way. Baron up in a minute 30 means that bot lane pressure will be so much better once TSM have more map to sort of split, but you can kind of still, again, just not as practiced on setting their styles up when they're playing more of a pick-up, more for team fights and moving through the enemy jungle between every lane. It just looks so smooth like it did in game one, but yeah, just a little jagged.
Yeah, I mean, now they have the Kassadin skilled up in a big way, so they're really hoping to find a flank, and they're actually turning it into a bit of a team fight right here. 5v5 in the mid lane.
It's going to have to force Haunter with a big flank, looking for Keith. Gets a stun in onto Looper, hook lands in as well. He's going to go down instantly as Double If claims that kill. Now Gate under fire as he has to run out of way, but Sven Skaren with a flash body slam to get the execute, and now the rest of the team moving forward. Bjergsen running down into the riff walks for so much extra damage. Don't know who's going to get popped. Froggen looks to line up the next Q, but the rest of the team's there to defend.
Remember when we talked about late game Kassadin in the draft phase and how they wouldn't be able to stop him from rift walking? That's what happened.
Popping back out, but he gets stunned over as the shutdown comes through for Bjergsen, and TSM getting too many kills. They're going to take the turret down in mid.
Yeah, and unless Froggen can get a bunch of damage to clean the minion wave right here, there's a chance TSM can end. These death timers are actually pretty long.
Got a lot of damage too. Let's bring Kassadin's going to take chunks out of the turret. Need a few more minions. That's one turret down. TSM will exit the base with 10 seconds or so left on Keith, so no overcommit, but TSM finally break into Echo Fox territory.
Yeah, and it's with the team fight. I mean, yes, they get the flank TP, but I mean, the Ash Arrow falls wide. I think most of this is on being able to catch Looper. The ult and the hook put him right in the middle of the team, do not give him time for that Zhonya's Hourglass, and then they're chasing him down. It just becomes Rift Walk City. Flash, Rift Walk, Rift Walk, Rift Walk, Rift Walk. It just keeps going as he's chasing after the entire Echo Fox team, and there was no escape once they started losing that fight. We'll have to figure out what this pause is for.
Well, we do have a pause. I believe it was Bjergsen that has paused the game, so we'll find out exactly what's happening ASAP. But kind of a curious time to have a slow down of the game with TSM building up all this momentum.
Apparently a button fell off the right side of Bjergsen's mouse. Too much right-click spamming while he was rift walking in the team fight. Hopefully they can fix that quickly, either by giving him a new mouse or just pushing the button back.
Maybe he mashed the Sonya's button too hard.
Yeah,
and it
who
fell
knows?
off.
Oh, man. Anyway.
We should find out what that button's for, actually. I hope it's his ultimate, because that'd be very funny.
Well, it's the mouse, right? I mean, a few players try and bind keys to their mouse for certain things like item actives.
Yeah, mostly items.
But I feel like mostly it's just right-clicking and being for that guy.
Apparently he traded mouse buttons with Haunter. Haunter's like, I don't need this one. You can have it. I'll just donate that one over. What a great teammate there for Haunter.
Yeah, it sounds like they're actually ready to go. We're going to be getting back in this one right away. A big turning point in the game, too, after that team fight. So much good happened for TSM. Double is still not landing his Ash Arrows, but just getting the TP and looking at Echo Fox team composition, just not having very much peel. So unless they're running them down or are the ones finding initiation, they still might have a disadvantage in these fights, especially looking at Keith just not there where he needs to be on the Caitlyn to have that type of threat in team fight.
Yeah, still waiting really for that third major item. Has some good little utility items, I like to call them, in the QSS and Last Whisper. Very cheap, very efficient, but really wanting that static shift to kind of push Caitlyn over to the edge, to the Doomsday scenario as Bjergsen starting the roof walks. Looks like the buttons are all working just well and fine. And with Baron being up, TSM going to look for possibly their last necessary play of the game. Echo Fox going to try and put a stop to it, and everyone's leaving the Baron pit because didn't go too well last time.
Yeah, Haunter doesn't have TP and was just shown on the bottom side, which is why Echo Fox is going to start this. A little bit of desperation. Haunter is zooming up that
3 Cloud Drakes, baby! Getting there ASAP! And now Bjergsen actually with the flank. Echo Fox could be a bit too desperate. Bjergsen onto Froggen gets the Banshees off, but the fight is going to start. Charm lands in. Firefrost trying to tank it all up. Keith in the backline just getting taken down, and he falls. But Looper does take down Bio. Arrow lands as Froggen. He's going to be the next target for Bjergsen. Just rip all over it. Looper pops his on his, but Acadian bleeding low as Haunted with the stone blade, tanking all the damage up. Double is not going to get burnt down this time around. And that's 4 dead. Going to make it 5 soon as Bjergsen. He's out of mana. Wants to chase down Gate.
We just need to get a W off.
Oh, Blast Cone going to make it problematic. Gate zipping out with the W. Tanking a few minions, but Bjergsen, he wants blood. He's going to chase him down. Riftwalk might have reset the mana cost. There it is. Last Q goes, and there's the ace for TSM. It's Fang going to end the game.
Not outrunning the triple Cloud Drake once he gets out of combat right there, but the game is done. TSM Pushman to take down the Nexus.
Nexus exposed, and that's going to be yet another sweep. Double Imp going to take down the last remaining minions, pad the stats as best he can as TSM stand strong and celebrate another clean weekend.
Yeah, this is probably the sloppiest game they played all week, but they still won in 35 minutes. So the 4-0, I think in back-to-back weeks for TSM means they are starting to turn it on now on a much more extended winning streak. And Keith can't help but stare at the screen. The early game on that Caitlyn was a disaster for Echo Fox because TSM pulled off multiple 2v2 kills in that bottom side. And then even though they weren't able to transition with Ash Arrows, did definitely buy them a lot of time to get the Kassadin to the late game and carry the game.
It was one of those things as the players will exchange handshakes. Echo Fox, a tough loss actually going to push them further down to that negative win ratio. Not a good time. They started 3-4 to begin the day, now 3-5. TSM pushing up there in the standings, and they and the fans will be happy to exchange some high fives. I have to say, does it matter that they kind of had to team fight to win that game? I mean, they did pick for the 1-3-1. Yes, you can team fight with the Kassadin. It was a great flank that they found, but for me, it's unsweetened slightly by the fact that they kind of had to be like, all right, let's find a team fight.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you look at TSM's stated goals from before the split as the back-to-back champions of the NALCS, saying they want to learn new strategies for when they go to the international stage. And I think this was a clear example of that. As the 1-3-1 goes, you want to find those fights as 5v4s or as a kill into an objective force. And when they just mash in the mid lane twice as their way of winning the game, it's very unsatisfactory from a strategic perspective, but it shows that they are still a good team with good players that can pull out victories.
I think so as well. I think getting the reps, maybe not executing exactly how they would want to, but still kind of making sure they get it done. On the Echo Fox side, story's going to kind of stay the same here. I just need to see this team with another carry. Their players are all good. Froggen is excellent, but no one else is really stepping up, despite having good individual moments in every single player.
Yeah, Keith had been playing big in the last few weeks, did not play in a big way this game. He fell flat. Froggen was up against Bjergsen, so he never had that huge advantage, right? He was doing quite well, had a CS lead in the second game, very small CS deficit in the first game. And the guy that I keep looking back to on this Echo Fox team was their massive offseason acquisition in Looper, who continues to fall flat. This is a guy who is a world champion, consistently makes it back to Worlds pretty much every year, comes to Echo Fox and is just having non-impressive performances. If there's a guy who needs to carry with Froggen, it's Looper over and over again, and we're just not seeing that from Echo Fox.
And it's tough. I think, we've seen him on Split Push, we've seen him on Rumble, Tanks. We have gotten the mix, but it just hasn't worked out for him. But for more on that win, let's check in with Captain Flowers and the TSM jungler.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'm here with Finn Skaren after that TSM win. And you have had a pretty impressive week so far for yourself. You had a good showing yesterday. You got some Player of the Game honors today. I want to ask you, how do you feel about the current state of your jungling and how you're doing with TSM?
So ever since we got Double back in the team, I feel like I've been able to play a lot better because just of the way his shot calling works, and he actually just knows a lot about the game, so I don't have to focus as much on other things, so I can just focus more on myself. And just my comfort pick is Lee Sin right now, so I can just, every time they give it to me or whatever, I can play it, then it's pretty easy, I guess, because, yeah, I just know the champion so well. So, yeah, once they, force me on other picks, then maybe it's going to be harder.
Are you surprised the teams keep giving you the Lee Sin? Because you have put up so many impressive performances on that champion.
I mean, I'm kind of disappointed by it because I kind of want to learn other champions, the stage experience. So it's kind of bad if we don't pick it because then we wouldn't really be trying our hardest to win. But yeah, I kind of wish I could play more other champions for the practice.
Now, talking about trying your hardest to win, you guys have quite an obstacle in front of yourselves next week with the schedule. TSM going up against both Immortals and Cloud9, the current #1 team in Summer Split, as well as your longtime rivals. Talk to me about how the team feels heading into this upcoming week.
Yeah, so Immortals looks really good right now, and we lost to them last time we played, so we obviously want to get like revenge on them again or whatever. But yeah, I think we've improved a lot since last time, and we should be able to beat them. And Cloud9, yeah, I don't know. I think we should be able to beat both.
All right, sounds like you guys got some high hopes for that one. Now, one more thing coming up on the horizon. 2 weeks from now, you guys are going to be heading to Rift Rivals, face off up against some EU teams. What's the preparation like going into that? Is this a victory goal for TSM? Are you guys looking as a growth opportunity for this? What's on your minds thinking about Rift Rivals?
I mean, I don't think we didn't really focus so much on it yet because it's during LCS, so I think LCS is maybe a bit more important, because Rift Rivals is just like a random tournament kind of. But obviously we're going to go there and try to do our best for NA, and I don't know about the other NA teams, but I know TSM is going to be really strong at this tournament.
Well, here's wishing you guys the best, both here in the NALCS and heading into Rift Rivals a couple of weeks from now. But we're going to go ahead, toss things over to the analyst desk to hear some more. Take it away, guys.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. TSM closing out the week in 2-0 fashion. Another 2-0 match victory here over Echo Fox. And at the beginning of the split, people are talking about, giving them time to shake off that rust and return to form. Well, sitting at 6-2, they're looking pretty good in terms of being well on their way to returning to form.
Yeah, they're 6-2, but they also have the least amount of game losses out of any team in the NALCS round right now. They've only dropped 5 games total, so it's complete opposite of what it was last split.
Right.
They had a bunch of game 3s. They're very clean right now in terms of closing out 2-0s against a lot of the field.
Right, so to clarify the point, for example, Immortals, although having a better match record, actually has lost more individual games than TSM this split.
And even now, their match record is better by 1 match, right? People thought the sky was falling because TSM started off like 1-2 in their first 3 matches.
Oh my goodness.
But then, hey, look at where we are now. The team is actually 6-2.
And that was during the time where we didn't even know Immortals was going to be this good. So one of their early losses comes against Immortals, and we're thinking, oh my God, how can TSM be losing this team? And it's like, oh, well, it turns out they could arguably be the best team in the league.
Yeah, very much so. But let's look at how TSM crafted this victory here against Echo Fox. And a lot of it comes from that bot lane duo of Biofrost and Doublelift kind of finding their synergy again and starting to do work in those 2v2s as opposed to just hanging on.
And I think you have to give a lot of credit to Biofrost setting up these plays. He finds 2 really, really nice hooks to get some solo kills for his lane there, and then plays this really well when Doublelift walks up to the far side of the knockup, and he throws the lantern to that side, being able to pull him to get in on this all-in. They play it out from here very well, making sure to avoid any traps that Caitlin's putting down to get the kill. Second one, a little bit easier this time around, but still a really nice hook into chain CC combo, getting the 6s earlier.
Yeah, and Gate used the grand entrance to try and escape there, and Keith walks into the hook. So mechanical misplays kind of across the board for Echo Fox too, but definitely, I love watching that bottom lane play against Rakan, because they were the first ones to bring out the Tom Kench against it, and every time they would walk away from each other, they would eat the other one, and then that play right there where Doublelift is playing against the Rakan and avoiding the grand entrance, he has really good reactions, and it seems like he knows exactly how he should step to get away from those engages.
Absolutely. Again, though, it's not like TSM is without their faults, and I think what we found throughout this game is that they left themselves open to many picks across the map, and that's really what extended the game time here, is that Echo Fox was able to mount, pick after pick after pick in side lanes and in the jungle.
And Acadian did a really good job all game. He had the really early path to get up for first blood onto Hanser, and then he got the second kill at 10 minutes. Now he's picking off people in the side lanes, getting angles on them, using the new Rek'Sai pretty well to be able to chase down a Castan who traditionally had no problem getting away from a Rek'Sai. So you get to see them comboing well as well with the Taliyah, getting these walls off, and overall it's making it very difficult for TSM to execute their 1-3-1 comp.
Yeah, and I feel like this game got really kind of hectic around these parts, because that Baron that went over to TSM later on, they had no business really getting. Like, Fox had a lot of control over that area. They wanted to back and reset for the bottom side of the map. But then that Baron got started up, and it was like the Echo Fox started the Baron incorrectly, they gave it over to TSM, and then even the steal and the contest wasn't appropriate either.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think that's a huge point, right? Is this game still likely could have gone for many more minutes and perhaps have gone the other way if not for that Baron secure from TSM. But hey, that's the nature of League of Legends. Sometimes you misclick, sometimes the smallest misposition or mechanical misplay can cost you the game.
Yeah, that's kind of the case, I think, where you could see that even in the early game, like we were saying, some of those small mistakes out of Echo Fox kind of giving up that bot side of the map when they should have a pressure lane with that Rakan Caitlyn. You should have at least a decent matchup where you should not be dying 2v2. And just because that happens, all that work that Acadian's putting into the top side turns out to be a trade of advantages as opposed to just getting your own team ahead on the map.
Now, player of the game is going to go to Biofrost this time around. We already took a look at a couple of the plays in the bot lane where he's able to secure those early kills for Doublelift and get that ball rolling. I do want to go ahead and jump back over to Sven Skaren, though, just briefly, because it's been brought up. His Lee Sin statistics are insane. Even he himself there on the stage saying he wishes that people would take it away or ban it from him more often just so he can get practice on different things on stage. Well, he did get the Gragas this time around. So what's our opinion on the way that he's performed on champions outside of Lee Sin? Because the win rate statistics are quite, there's quite a discrepancy there between his Lee Sin and the rest of the champions.
Yeah, I think it's 9-1 on Lee Sin, and then he's 4-4
with this win, right?
Yes,
4-4 on all other champions.
On all other champions. So, the discrepancy, I think, it's definitely a little bit of a correlation, of course. When he plays Lee Sin, I feel like he's much safer, like warding for the team and making those flashy plays. And a lot of his games, he actually takes over. He has very high KP on his Lee Sin as well. But it just seems like the other champions, like Elise and he just gets blown up and he can't actually get out as much. It's really, I'm not quite sure. So
yeah,
thoughts as well.
I was gonna say I think like on a Gragas being able to be a little bit tankier is good for him. But like you said, when you get on the Elise, these more aggressive invade early champions, it doesn't feel like he knows his limits quite as well as Lee Sin. Tries to play them the same kind of style, and then when he's caught out of position, just kind of feeds over some kills.
So I'm thinking about like when he invaded even yesterday, and when he almost dies after getting the blue buff at level 3 because he's counter invading, but he gets out because he's Lee Sin, right? Because he has multiple ways to like jump and then also flash over walls.
He's got to take a page out of Xmithy's playbook and start building that Zonias on the jungle Elise. Doesn't matter if you don't have health, if you can turn golden and avoid death in that
A couple other things you can take from Smithy. He's playing pretty good right now.
Yeah, Xmithy's playing quite well right now. Either way, we've got more league action coming your way. Cloud9 are going to hit the Rift next as they go up against Team Dignitas. Now, before we go to break, here's a look at the latest episode from the Drive series, which focuses on Echo Fox's jungler, Acadian. Enjoy.
When I was looking at jungle, they get to play all these like carry damage champions. They get to do whatever they want. They don't have to care if there's like a jungler in their lane, and they don't have to stop playing aggressively for like 2 minutes. All they do is make decisions and go fight people. And I was like, nice. I want to do that. Like I want to carry. I want to be kind of the guy that has the responsibility to win the game on his shoulders. I don't want to be one of those players who are just insignificant. My name is Matthew Higginbotham. I'm the jungler for Echo Fox, and some people know me as Acadian.